Hi, my name is Renee O'Connell and I'm a freshman here at MSU. I'm a member of the Honors College as well as Lyman Briggs, and my major is Environmental Science and Management. One of the reasons I chose Michigan State is because of its extensive study abroad program. I didn't expect to study abroad my freshman year, but the Honors College provided me with an opportunity I couldn't refuse. To get to Cuba, we flew from Detroit to Miami, and then we took a 40-minute charter flight from Miami to Havana. This study abroad is actually research-based, and each one of the 16 students is in the process of writing a research paper, which we're going to present at the Undergraduate Research and Arts Forum in April. The theme of our program is urban sustainability. So prior to Cuba, our class studied sustainability and preservation issues by visiting Lansing and Detroit. One of the most exciting things about this class is that sustainability can be applied to many aspects of life, so each one of us has a unique research topic. My research topic focuses on comparing Cuban waste management systems with American waste management. So while I was in Cuba, I recorded my observations and I had a few interviews with some of the locals. One of my friends is studying how sustainability affects lifespan, and she's comparing care for the elderly in America to how they take care of their elders in Cuba. A few of the other topics include racial issues, veterinary medicine, and food systems. Studying these topics in Cuba was especially great because their government and way of life is so different than ours. So it was really interesting to see how their government handles different political and social issues. Since our program only spent 10 days in Cuba, each day was action-packed and filled with something different. One of the nights we watched Los Industriales, which is Havana's local baseball team, play against Guantanamo. And then another day we visited a small community called La Lisa, and we spent time talking with some of the locals, and we got to ask them questions and learn more about their lifestyle. That was one of the places where I got to ask people questions for my research report. We took several tours of the city and we saw an enormous variety of building styles. Havana is definitely one of the most architecturally diverse cities in the world, and some of its buildings dated back to the 16th century, so it was really pretty. The best way I can describe the city is overwhelming because there was so much life and activity, it was really hard to take it in all at once. My favorite day trip was to an urban farm. And so by necessity, the embargo has turned Cubans into pioneers in alternative farming methods. And there are over 60,000 hectares of urban farmland in Cuba. We went on a guided tour around the farm and we learned about all the amazing changes that Cubans are doing to alter the way they produce their food. We visited the farm and they told us that they had not used chemicals since 2000, so that was really interesting. And they mentioned that they had figured out ways to sell their crops for less than farms that use chemicals, and they were still able to produce just as much product. They told us how their farming methods reduce CO2 emissions, and they explained that the Cuban government is very much in support of this type of project, and the Cuban government pays for the land and in a lot of cases pays the worker's salary. So the workers at the farm we visited, they could buy their food at the farm for wholesale price. And it was just really amazing to see all the workers and to see what people around the world are doing to improve the food systems. One of the biggest things that I took away from this experience is how welcoming the people were there, even though that they knew we were Americans. Going into this project, I was a little nervous that we would go there and they'd be like, oh, you're Americans, we don't like you, blah, blah, blah. But most of them were saying that they wanted the embargo to end, that they didn't hold anything against us. And they said how that we were they said how that they wanted the embargo to end so that we could just go back to trading with them, and they weren't hostile to us at all, and they just wanted the governments to reconcile their differences. So I just really love this trip because I got to submerge myself in a culture completely different from my own, and the Cuban people are very proud of their heritage, so it was really interesting to see. I definitely say that this trip broadened my outlook on life, and I learned more in 10 days there than I would have learned in a semester of class. I'm so lucky to have had this opportunity, and I'm very thankful for it.